What is going on? Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's well. Happy Tuesday. What a beautiful day to be alive. We had quite the day yesterday. A lot of positions that we had planned from the newsletter point of view, everything that we ran through on yesterday's stream. A lot of it has come good today. So obviously what we are seeing this morning is the fruits of our labour. I woke up this morning, unfortunately, a little bit early and have closed partials and taken some profits where I probably shouldn't have done. But that's fine. Like I say, we'll go through them this morning and we'll work out what went well, what went wrong. Euro dollar this morning has gone on a tear. The dollar has strengthened right up this morning, which is obviously a positive. It's always a good thing. One thing that I do just want to load up before I forget about it is the gold chart, because this, I think, is going to have some part to play. With regards to obviously like today and the week ahead, when we have such a strong day like we've done on the Monday, sometimes we have to be a little bit cautious and a little bit patient with what we do. We're probably going to see the pound weaken off a little bit throughout this morning as well. So that's something that we want to keep an eye on. But yeah, Euro USD. Obviously, we were looking for the short below 118. Last night there was the opportunity to enter a short position. I just liked the momentum in it, so I took a short position from the rejection from 1950. That has obviously, luckily, touch wood, obviously seen us come all the way back to the downside. This morning's move is mad, obviously a bit of an anomaly, but I would take the 50 pips, and we're rapidly approaching the 118.80 region that obviously we have been talking about for a long time now. So obviously we are being presented with opportunities to take potential positions and potential trades. Obviously just a blank profit and lock in profit on the positions that we are already in. So obviously when we're in a situation like this, we need to make sure that we are taking full advantage of the opportunities that are coming to us. Like I say, we are fortunate enough to be involved in quite a few, or at least I am, as part of pending orders. Like I say, I have taken partials on some positions a little bit too early, but it's fine, we can always get back involved. Euro USD short below 118.80. I don't see any other alternative based on this morning's momentum that's come into the market on European Open. With that said, obviously we do need to be very mindful. We know that multiple times around this zone in this area we have rejected back to the upside. That is something that obviously we're going to need to be very mindful of as we move into the rest of today. However, obviously as things stand at the moment, it is always good to be up like we are. As we approach that 118.80 level, obviously, I currently have a pending order in place. So at the moment, obviously, I've got that side of things running on its own. I am very mindful of obviously the potential for the pullback from that region. So for the time being, I'm just going to leave my order in place that I have at 1880. If we get triggered, we get triggered. That's cool. And then obviously from there, we just see how things progress. I think if we get through 1880 though, then this is probably one of the fifth or sixth time of trying to bite that cherry in the last week or two. So obviously we would be highly hopeful that we can finally see the breakthrough that we've been after. although obviously things don't always go according to plan in this game. So we will wait it out, see what happens, see if we can get some form of directional bias and some form of momentum. But as things stand, obviously, a beautiful position to be involved in. Dollar CAD, the break above the 20 level yesterday we spoke about. Obviously, we were very much waiting for that situation to occur. That has now happened, and obviously, as a result, we have been able to take our longer position. I was actually triggered into this off the momentum yesterday, and I closed for a very, very small loss and immediately set up a pending order at the exact same level. Was obviously triggered into that, and we are now running 30 pips to the good. The momentum behind it scares me a little bit this morning, and that is purely for the reason that obviously we've seen a lot of momentum come into some pairs that wasn't there an hour or two ago, and there seems to be no real reason as to behind why. So obviously in situations like that, it does make me incredibly nervous and incredibly worried as to where price may head back, and if obviously we start to see immediate swings start to end up in like a snapback situation. Nobody ever wants to be caught up in that. But yeah, like I say, as things stand, obviously we're running towards that 126 region. If we can get through 126, then we ride that back up to 128, which is obviously where we were very, very hopeful of getting involved in a couple of weeks ago. And obviously we managed to ride that down to 24.50. So we are on to a winner so far. New Zealand dollar, like I say, we saw the breakout yesterday. We were targeting that 71.50 region when we were talking yesterday morning. Obviously, we seen a push up. We closed that gaps, and then obviously saw quite a momentous push to the downside. That has obviously seen a large push and a large momentum push into the downside. Currently running about 80 pips to the good, depending on where your entry is. With this position currently, we're running it down to 69, I believe. I believe that is the... Yeah, so down to 69, the whole number. So a 250 pip trade. Nice 12.5 to 1 on our risk to reward. So we're looking to ride that down. I have taken partial profits in the early hours of this morning, just because I woke up really early. That's fine, it's not a problem. When we pull back up, which I'm sure we will, we'll come back and retest that 71 region. I'm almost certain of it. When we do, obviously, I will look to jump in and take a position from there. Aussie yen. I was triggered into a position at 83.50, which I closed for a 5 pip loss this morning. I've set up a new order at 83.50. So as and when that triggers, obviously, then I will be short on the pair. Not completely sold on it, if I'm honest. The Aussie seemed to die off a little bit yesterday and through last night, but I'm not completely sold on the fact that it's sustainable. I think the Australian dollar may look to strengthen up again a little bit. So pops back above 83.80, then potentially I might change my mind. Look for possible long entries up towards 84.20 and 84.50. I know I've got an order set at 84.50 already to catch the potential long should that present itself. But we shall see what happens there. I think below 83.50 though does present a decent short entry, looking to ride price back down to 82, the whole number there. New Zealand Swiss, I was triggered into yesterday. Below 66.20, which is the plan entry that we were talking about yesterday, we got through that region, currently running about 60 pips up, was about 80 pips up, I believe, this morning at some point. But that's fine. Like I say, the pullbacks are expected. When we see such momentous moves and we crash through key levels, we're either going to come back and retest and reject away from this 65.60 region, 65.50 region, or we will pull all the way back up into our entry zones. I've secured partial profit already, so if we do, I will just look to take the same position again. Nothing wrong with it. The analysis was all good. The analysis was correct, like we were talking about yesterday morning. We saw that crash through, and from there, obviously, running nicely in profit. Potential entries come back to entry point, or obviously we reject away. We will look to scale in, take another position, and ride that the rest of the way down to 64.50. New Zealand CAD. CAD is strengthened up this morning. I've also taken another position on Euro CAD, which we'll go through in just a minute. New Zealand CAD strengthened up this small. Has obviously dropped also. Currently running about 70 pips in profit from our entry around the 30 region. Once we had broken through that consolidation, obviously we were talking about it yesterday morning. We saw the push up. We could have had a position away from 90 whole number. If you manage to take it, then fair play to you. Apart from that, obviously the drop back to the downside is what we were looking for. Pop back through that range, and we have finally seen some movement. Like I say, the the Canadian dollar even has finally strengthened up a little bit, giving ourselves obviously the opportunity to take some positions. Euro CAD this morning, those in the internship group, I spoke about it very quickly. I'm just saying to have a look at it. But from the momentum, we've seen obviously that push back to the upside, but we've also now come into this region and started to see that role reversal situation come into play. So the area that we were previously using as support and resistance, we've come back, retested. Like I say, we've come within 5 pips of it. So once we had started to reject away from there, seeing signs of momentum and sellers coming into the market, it only made sense to take that short position. As things stand, obviously, I was stopped out from the original position at 105, at 150.50. Like I say, I had my stop loss placed at 49.20. That was triggered, taken out of the market for the profit. And then obviously from there, it's all about looking for that next entry. I believe that we found it. Once we get below the 20 level again, 49.20, I'll probably look to take the risk out of the position and potentially let that run. That should put us about 30 to 40 pips in profit, 40 pips up. So probably look to take the profit out, the risk out of the position, and continue to let that run, looking for another entry below 48.50 and then 48 whole number once we crash through this area of support also. So multiple entries presenting themselves on EuroCAD should we get the momentum to carry that through. What else did we take? Pound Swiss yesterday. Pound Swiss, we were looking at the short position. That obviously triggered and flew immediately into profit. We came down, crashed through the 128 region, came down as far as 27.80, 27.70, somewhere around that region. I did then drop a message in saying that pullback is quite likely, and if obviously you're uncomfortable, then now is a good time to take your position to risk-free or take some profits off the table. Obviously, we've come back, retested the entry, and obviously we shall see where we go from there. The retest of that previous support region, though, was highly anticipated, highly expected. If obviously we break back above it, it's time to flip attention. Return attentions to the long. For all the time that we are below that region, focus still firmly on the shorts. And in actual fact, if we break through 128, I will probably look to take another position on the pair. And see how we go with that. As things stand at the moment, obviously we're still running about 30 pips in profit. Those that secured profit earlier or even got stopped to break even, that's fine, it's not a problem. We will look to re-enter at 128 should that be broken. What else? There's a couple of others. Pound CAD. I'm not actually in a position, but we ran through it yesterday. I will probably look to take a position though. That is very, very appealing. This is my type of trade. Once you see this little consolidation region and the lows taken out, that's my type of position. That's the type of trade that I like to be involved in. I am just going to take a position on Pound CAD now. Going to give a 25 pip stop loss. Entry price is 73.32. Let's just move that over one. Uh, 25 pip stop loss just above that 50 region and the previous support. Profit target down at 172. Whole number. So let's see how we fare there. See what happens there. It's not a position that I'm immediately expecting to go into profit for, and I'm actually not too bothered if I get stopped on it. The risk to reward though is there. So, and it's my exact type of trade. That momentum that comes in breaks the support of a consolidation, see a push back to the downside. So let's see how we fare on that. May be scope to move the stop loss out ever so slightly if I need to. Apart from that, one other pair that I do want to have a quick look at actually. Aussie CAD. Obviously, yesterday we were talking about the potential to drive back up and obviously the potential to drop back below. I just wanted to see how we were faring off the back of the Aussie dollar weakening overnight. Still not a position until 96 is taken out though, so until that alert goes off, there isn't really anything there. That's fine though. That's not a problem at all. So yeah, we have our positions, we have our potential entries. Euro USD below 1880 if that comes into play. I'm probably just going to close my profit on that position at the moment and wait for that to retest 1880. I can now see this being an almost immediate snap back. And in actual hindsight would be the perfect place to see a potential higher low form. So if we do drive back up towards the upside, kind of break back above 1920, then maybe we'll flip and look for potential long positions. With obviously the CAD strengthening up and the dollar looking like that, I'll probably take the profit off the table on that position too. and then see how we fare with regards to coming back down to. In fact, I'm just going to close it out. Profit taken there. That's absolutely fine. Bank 25 pips. See what happens. That pullback is probably quite likely. If we drop back below, then obviously the short is highly likely. Taking partials. Gold is the last one that I want to run through. I thought we might have seen, with the dollar going on its little run then, we might have seen a little bit more in the way of a drop, but we haven't. I'm not content with taking a position above 140 at the moment, but I think above 145 I probably would look to long gold. Maybe we need to look at long in Euro USD and long in gold. See the lower high though, and then the lower low. Oh, I don't know. It's the ideal place. We're going to need to see some further price action. This is the ideal place to see a lower high form, obviously in line with previous support. So if we were to see that, then the natural reaction is to see that higher high. I think above 1920 maybe we're starting to turn attention to that potential. Still not sold on taking a long from 1920 though. Got 80 pips. You could probably get away with a 4-1. It might be worth a scalp, but I think we're just alert 1920 and see what happens from there. Dollar CAD obviously have alerts set anyway at 25.20, so we'll see how things fare from there. And we're alert 145 on gold and just see what happens. I was kind of hopeful that we might have seen more of a push on gold with the US dollar strengthening up there very briefly, but that hasn't happened, so we shall see where we go. There's not going to be a rush into this position at the moment. Regardless, like I say, we know what we're up against. There is Jerome Powell's testimony today for the Federal Bank of, the Federal Reserve, so the National Bank of the US. So we need to be very mindful of that. Also, I believe that the Bank of England Governor Bailey is speaking at some point this morning. I believe it might be around lunchtime, off the top of my head. So we probably need to be mindful of that. Anytime that these central bank governors or heads or chairs speak, we normally see some form of reaction. So we do just need to be a little bit mindful. Whatever you're up to, I hope you have a good day. And like I say, I will catch up with people a little bit later. Quite a busy day ahead of myself today.